My sister grabbed the mic at my wedding and screamed, "His heart beats for me, not you. Step aside." In front of 180 guests at the venue I had saved 3 years to afford in Austin. My husband Tyler didn't hesitate. He took the mic from her, looked at everyone, and said, "She's been texting me for 8 months. I have 247 unanswered messages, and I showed them all to my wife before we got engaged." The crystal chandeliers caught every horrified face in that ballroom. Bianca stood there in her deliberately white dress, mouth open, mascara already starting to run. She had planned this moment for months. I knew that now. The timing was calculated. Right after our vows, right when everyone's phones were out recording, right when she thought I'd be too stunned to fight back. She wanted this documented. She wanted the world to see her steal my moment, my husband, my life. Tyler kept going, his voice steady and cold. Every message started with, "He doesn't love you like I do," or "You made a mistake choosing her." Every single one went unanswered because I was showing them to Natalie the moment they came in. He turned to me, and I saw something flicker in his eyes that wasn't in the script we'd planned. Pride, maybe. My wife suggested I let them pile up. She said we'd need evidence eventually. The silence in that room was perfect. My mother grabbed the table, her knuckles white. My father's face had gone from red to purple. But I watched Bianca, watched her chest heaving, watched her realize that her grand theatrical moment had just imploded. She looked at me then, really looked at me, and I saw the exact second she understood. I smiled. "You knew?" Her voice came out small, broken. "You both knew?" I took the microphone from Tyler's hand. My wedding dress rustled as I moved. $8,000 of silk and lace that I'd worked double shifts to afford, while Bianca spent her trust fund on that white cocktail dress she wore to upstage me. I've known since March. Message 1 of 247. Tyler, remember our night at the lake house? That should have been our wedding. I paused, let that sink in. There was no night at the lake house, Bianca. Tyler has never been to your lake house, but you needed me to believe there was something between you two, didn't you? The ballroom erupted. My Aunt Michelle gasped. My cousin Mason stood up, phone still recording. Good. I wanted this recorded. Bianca lunged for the microphone, but my bridesmaid Jessica caught her arm. "Let her finish," Jessica said quietly, and there was steel in her voice that made Bianca freeze. I looked out at 180 faces, these people who'd driven from Dallas and Houston and San Antonio to celebrate with us. My sister has been obsessed with every boyfriend I've had since I was 16. She slept with my prom date. She told my college boyfriend I was cheating. She showed up at my apartment with Frank once, my ex-boyfriend Frank, and told me they were in love. I watched Frank shrink in his seat 3 tables back. They weren't. She paid him $2,000 to go along with it for one night. He told me everything the next morning. My mother started crying. Real tears this time, not the happy ones from the ceremony. But Tyler? I looked at my husband, this man who'd spent 8 months saving every deranged message, who'd sat with me every evening cataloging the escalation, who'd agreed to this public execution because he knew I needed it. Tyler was different. Tyler told me about message number 1 before he even responded with a screenshot that said, "Wrong number." That's when we knew this would get worse. Bianca's white dress seemed to glow under the chandeliers like a target. "You're lying. You're making this up because you're jealous that he wants me." Message 84, Tyler interrupted, his voice cutting through hers like a knife. Quote, "I saw you at the gym. Your arms looked so good. I touched myself thinking about you pinning me down." End quote. The room went silent again. That was sent while Natalie was in the shower. I showed her the message before she even dried her hair. We laughed about it. We had. We'd laughed because it was so pathetic, so desperately transparent. But we'd also started planning that night. Started documenting. Started building the case. Message 137, I continued, taking back the microphone. "You sent a photo of yourself in my childhood bedroom at Mom and Dad's house, in my old cheerleading uniform from high school. You're 26, Bianca. You broke into our parents' attic to wear my teenage uniform and sent it to my fiancé with the caption, 'Bet you wish you'd known me back then.'" My father made a sound I'd never heard before. When I looked at him, his face had gone gray. Message 189 was a 12-minute voice memo recorded at 3 a.m., Tyler said. It was incoherent sobbing about how we were supposed to be soulmates. Message 190, sent 10 minutes later, was an audio recording of you playing our wedding song on piano, a song Natalie chose. You learned it just to record yourself playing it for me. The string quartet in the corner looked uncomfortable. They'd played that song 20 minutes ago. Bianca tried to run. She made it 3 steps before our cousin Luis stood up and blocked the exit. Not aggressively, just standing there with his arms crossed, this 6'4" wall of a man who'd been my protector since we were kids. "Sit down, Bianca," he said quietly. "Let them finish." She sat, collapsed really, into the nearest chair. The white dress pooled around her like a puddle. "The final message," I said, and my voice was steady, calm, almost gentle. "Came this morning, 6:47 a.m. I'm going to stop this wedding. I'm going to make him choose. He'll pick me. They always pick me." That one was interesting because it showed premeditation. I pulled my phone from where I'd hidden it in my bouquet. I forwarded all 247 messages to our family group chat at 7:15 this morning. Everyone here received them. Mom, Dad, Aunt Michelle, Uncle George, every cousin, every friend. They've been reading them during the ceremony. That's why half of you weren't crying during the vows. You were reading about my sister's 8-month campaign to destroy my engagement. My mother's phone was face up on the table. I could see the group chat open, could see the endless scroll of screenshots Tyler and I had organized by category: delusional, threatening, sexually explicit, just sad. "The venue coordinator has copies too," Tyler added, "and hotel security, and the Austin Police Department, because several messages contained credible threats against Natalie's safety. Detective Mason Alvarez is actually here tonight as a guest. Stand up, Mason." Our friend Mason stood, and I saw his badge clip visible on his belt. He's been monitoring the situation since June. That was the detail that broke her. Bianca's face crumpled, and she started screaming. Actually screaming, this inhuman sound that made the chandeliers shake. "You can't do this to me. You can't humiliate me like this. I'm your sister." "You humiliated yourself," I said, and I meant it. I just provided the stage. Security arrived then, 2 large men in black suits that the venue coordinator had stationed outside at my request. "Ms. Bianca," one of them said calmly, "we need you to leave the property." She looked at our mother, at our father. "Mom? Dad? Are you going to let them do this to me?" My father stood up slowly. His voice shook when he spoke. "How long, Bianca? How long have you been doing this to your sister?" "She gets everything!" Bianca shrieked, and there it was, the truth underneath all those messages. "She's not even that pretty. She's not even that smart. Why does she get the perfect husband and the perfect wedding and the perfect life?" "Because I worked for it," I said simply. "While you spent Dad's money on therapy you never attended and gym memberships you never used and college classes you never finished, I worked 60-hour weeks. I saved every penny for 3 years to afford this venue, this dress, this night. Tyler and I paid for this wedding ourselves. Every flower, every dinner plate, every chair you're sitting in. We earned this." The security guards each took one of Bianca's arms. She fought them, thrashing and screaming, knocking over a champagne tower on her way to the exit. The glass shattered across the marble floor in a sound like wind chimes. The doors closed behind her, and the silence that followed was enormous. I looked at Tyler. He looked at me. And then I started laughing. It wasn't hysterical laughter or nervous laughter. It was pure relief. Pure joy. The sound of someone who just won a war they'd been fighting for 8 months. Tyler joined in, and then Jessica, and then slowly, carefully, the whole room started to relax. Someone clapped. Then someone else. Then suddenly everyone was applauding. Not for Bianca's exit, but for the fact that we'd survived it, that we'd controlled it, that we'd turned her ambush into our victory. "Ladies and gentlemen," I said into the microphone, my voice still shaking with laughter, "dinner will be served in 10 minutes. The bar is open. And if anyone else has any dramatic announcements, please submit them to my maid of honor in writing so we can schedule them appropriately." The room erupted in laughter. Real laughter this time. And the string quartet started playing again. Tyler pulled me close, kissed my temple, whispered, "You're magnificent," against my hair. I looked at the shattered champagne glasses being swept up by the staff, at the empty chair where Bianca had been sitting, at the faces of our guests slowly returning to celebration. My parents looked shell-shocked, but were holding hands across the table. Uncle George was already ordering whiskey. Cousin Alexis was showing the group chat screenshots to her husband, both of them shaking their heads in disbelief. What none of them knew yet was that this was just the opening act. The real performance wouldn't begin until Monday morning, when Bianca's employer received a very detailed email about harassment and workplace conduct. When her landlord got documentation of lease violations. When her trust fund administrator got court documents about misuse of family funds. When her therapist got transcripts proving she'd been lying about her treatment progress for 8 months. I'd spent 3 years saving for this wedding. I'd spent 8 months preparing for this war. And Bianca had given me all the ammunition I needed. The reception continued like nothing had happened. Tyler and I cut the cake while guests took photos. We danced our first dance while Uncle George openly sobbed into his napkin. By 10 p.m., the champagne was flowing and Cousin Luis was doing karaoke to Sweet Caroline with half the groomsmen, but I excused myself at 10:47 p.m., slipped into the bridal suite with my laptop and sent the first email. To Bianca's supervisor at the marketing firm, Peter. Subject: Harassment documentation. Employee Bianca Morrison. Attached: 43 messages Bianca had sent to Tyler from her work email address during business hours, including 12 sexually explicit images taken in the office bathroom that had metadata stamps proving time and location. The email was professional, clinical, apologetic for bringing this to their attention on a Saturday night, but concerned about liability, given that she'd used company resources to stalk my husband. I hit send at 10:52 p.m. The second email went to her landlord at the luxury apartment complex she could barely afford. Subject: Lease Violation Report. Unit 4B. I'd visited Bianca's apartment 3 times in the past 6 months, always when she wasn't home, always with her spare key that she'd never bothered to take back after she'd used mine 2 years ago to water my plants, while robbing me of my grandmother's jewelry. She was subletting her second bedroom on Craigslist for cash, direct violation of her lease. She'd painted the walls black without permission. She had 2 unauthorized cats that destroyed the carpet. I had photos of everything, time-stamped and geotagged. The landlord's assistant replied within 20 minutes. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. We'll address this Monday morning. The third email was the one I'd been composing in my head for 3 months. To Family Trust Administrator, Mitchell & Associates. Subject: Request for Emergency Review. Bianca Morrison Trust Distribution. My father had set up trust funds for both of us when we turned 21. Mine had rules: graduated distribution, employment requirements, annual reporting. Bianca's had the same rules, but she'd been lying on her annual reports for 5 years. The trust required she maintain gainful employment. She'd been fired from 4 jobs but never reported it, just kept collecting the monthly distributions. The trust required therapy documentation. She'd been forging her therapist's signature on progress reports while spending the therapy allowance on spa days and shopping. I had bank statements, employment verification forms I'd requested under false pretenses, everything. The trust administrator didn't work weekends, but the email would be waiting Monday morning, along with scanned documentation that proved systematic fraud. Tyler found me at 11:15 p.m., still typing. "You're missing your own wedding reception," he said. But he was smiling. He knew what I was doing. He'd helped me organize half these files. Almost done. I attached the final document to email number 4. To Bianca's therapist, Dr. Sarah, regarding patient misrepresentation and insurance fraud. Bianca had been billing her sessions to my parents' insurance for 8 months, while never actually attending. She'd been meeting with the receptionist, paying cash for fake appointment confirmations, then going to get her nails done. I had receipts from the nail salon, time-stamped during her supposed therapy hours. I had the receptionist's testimony. She'd agreed to talk after I'd paid her $50 and explained that insurance fraud was a felony that could cost her her job if she didn't cooperate. "How did you even find the time?" Tyler asked, sitting on the edge of the desk. "Lunch breaks, evenings. That week you thought I was working late?" I was parked outside her apartment building, documenting her moving in a 3rd roommate. I closed the laptop. "Every message she sent you, I turned into ammunition. She gave me everything I needed to destroy her, and she was so focused on trying to take you that she never noticed me building the case. We rejoined the reception at 11:30 p.m. My parents cornered me near the dessert table, both looking 20 years older than they had that morning. "Is it true?" my mother asked. "All those messages, she really sent all of them?" "Every single one. Want to read them yourself?" I offered her my phone. My father stopped her hand. "We believe you. How did we not see this?" "Because she's good at hiding who she really is from you. She's been doing it since we were kids." I picked up a Petit Four, examined the delicate icing. "Remember when I got accepted to Rice and she told you I was only going because I was sleeping with the admissions counselor? You believed her. You made me take a gap year to prove I was serious about my education. I worked at Target for 12 months while Bianca went to Europe on your dime." My mother's face crumpled. "Natalie, It doesn't matter now. What matters is that she finally went too far, and I finally had proof you couldn't ignore." I ate the PT4. "You'll get copies of everything I sent tonight. Read them. Decide who your daughter really is." They left looking haunted. Good. They should be haunted. Jessica found me at midnight, pulled me onto the dance floor. "You're terrifying," she said, laughing. "Remind me never to cross you." "You never would. You're not stupid enough." I spun under her arm. Bianca thought I was weak because I didn't fight back the first 100 times. She thought my silence was weakness. It wasn't. It was patience. "How long have you been planning this?" "Since March, actively. Since I was 16, passively. The DJ was playing something upbeat, something that made everyone jump and scream. She took Frank from me, but Frank was garbage, so that was a favor. She ruined prom, but prom is stupid anyway. She sabotaged college, but I went eventually and graduated with honors. Every time she hurt me, I survived it. I got stronger, and she got more confident, more reckless. She thought she was untouchable." Past tense? "By Monday afternoon, she'll be unemployed, homeless, broke, and potentially facing fraud charges." Past tense. Jessica stared at me. Jesus Christ. "She did this to herself. I just documented it." The song changed to something slow. Tyler appeared, pulled me close. Jessica melted back into the crowd. "Your mom and dad just left," Tyler whispered against my ear. "Your dad looked like he'd seen a ghost. He's realizing he has one good daughter and one monster, and he spent 28 years treating them the same." I rested my head on his shoulder. "That's not my problem to fix." We danced until 2 a.m. The last guests filtered out around 2:30. The venue coordinator found me collecting my things, handed me a thumb drive. "All the security footage from tonight, like you requested, includes audio from when she grabbed the microphone." "Thank you." I slipped it into my purse next to my phone, my laptop, my files, everything I needed to finish what I'd started. Tyler drove us to the hotel, this beautiful historic place downtown where we'd booked the honeymoon suite. We didn't make it past the elevator before I was pulling up my email on my phone, checking for responses. Peter from Bianca's work had replied at 1:47 a.m. "Ms. Morrison, thank you for this documentation. This is deeply concerning and we'll be conducting an investigation starting Monday. We appreciate your discretion in handling this privately first." The landlord's assistant had sent a follow-up at 21:03 a.m. "Emergency inspection scheduled for Monday, 8 a.m. If violations are confirmed, Ms. Morrison will have 48 hours to vacate." The trust administrator's auto-reply said the office would open at 9 a.m. Monday. Doctor hadn't responded yet, but it was the middle of the night. She'd see it Monday morning along with everyone else. Tyler carried me over the threshold of the suite, and I finally let myself relax. "It's done," I said. "The missiles are in the air. She can't stop them now." "How does it feel?" "Like justice." I kicked off my heels, let my hair down. She spent 8 months trying to destroy my happiness. I spent 8 months building her destruction. Mine worked. We consummated the marriage at 3:47 a.m. while Bianca was probably at our parents' house sobbing into her pillow, completely unaware that her entire life was about to collapse. She thought the wedding humiliation was the punishment. She thought being escorted out by security was the worst thing that could happen. She had no idea what Monday morning would bring. Sunday morning arrived with 17 missed calls from my mother. I ignored them all, ordered room service breakfast, spent 2 hours in the hotel's spa getting a massage while Tyler swam in the pool. We had brunch at a rooftop restaurant at noon, drank mimosas, watched tourists take photos of the Austin skyline. My phone buzzed constantly. Bianca, Mom, Dad, Aunt Michelle, Uncle George, Cousin Alexis. Even Frank, my ex-boyfriend who'd taken Bianca's money to betray me, sent a message. "Hey, I know we haven't talked in years, but Bianca showed up at my place this morning crying and I had to call the cops. She tried to break my door down. Thought you should know." I forwarded his message to Detective Mason with a note, adding to the file. He responded within minutes. "Already have 3 noise complaints from her apartment building neighbors. She was screaming outside her own door at 4 a.m. Building security called us. She's on thin ice." Perfect. I'd hoped she would spiral, but I hadn't expected it to happen this fast. Tyler found me on the hotel balcony at 2 p.m., scrolling through my phone with a smile that felt permanent. "You look happy," he said. "I am happy. This is the best weekend of my life." I showed him Frank's message. "She's already falling apart and nothing's even happened yet. The real bombs don't drop until tomorrow." "You think she knows what's coming?" "Not even a little bit. She thinks the wedding scene was the grand finale. She has no idea it was the opening credits." We checked out of the hotel at 4 p.m., drove to the airport for our honeymoon flight to Cabo. 6 days of beaches and tequila and absolutely no contact with my family. I'd set my email to auto-forward anything important to Jessica, who'd agreed to monitor the fallout and send me daily updates. The first update came through while we were waiting at our gate. "Your mother has called me 6 times. Your father showed up at my apartment. Bianca is blowing up everyone's phones saying you planted evidence and framed her. Nobody's buying it. Everyone read the messages. The group chat is chaos. People are choosing sides. It's mostly your side." I replied, "Let them fight it out. I'm getting drunk in Mexico." The plane took off at 7:32 p.m. I watched Austin disappear below us, this city where I'd worked so hard for so long, where I'd saved every penny, where I'd built my case against my sister piece by piece. By the time we landed in Cabo, it would be Monday morning in Texas. By the time I finished my first margarita on the beach, Bianca's life would be ending. Tyler ordered champagne on the plane. We toasted to marriage, to revenge, to justice, to the fact that sometimes the good guys win, and the bad guys lose everything. "To Bianca," I said, raising my glass, "thanks for being stupid enough to document your own destruction." We clinked glasses at 30,000 feet while below us. The missiles I'd launched were finding their targets. Monday morning in Cabo arrived with sun and ocean and a text from Jessica at 6:47 a.m. "It's happening." I made coffee in the hotel room kitchenette, settled into the balcony chair, opened my laptop. Jessica had sent screenshots. Email from Peter to Bianca, timestamped 6:15 a.m. "Ms. Morrison, please come to HR immediately upon arrival. Do not go to your desk. Bring your building access badge and company laptop." Email from Bianca's landlord, timestamped 7:03 a.m. "Emergency inspection revealed multiple lease violations. You have 48 hours to vacate Unit 4B. Security deposit will not be returned. Legal action pending for damages totaling $8,700. Email from Mitchell and Associates, timestamped 8:34 a.m. "Ms. Morrison, our preliminary review of your trust documentation reveals serious discrepancies. All distributions are frozen pending investigation. Please contact our office immediately." And then the one I'd been waiting for. Email from Doctor's office, timestamped 9:12 a.m. "Ms. Morrison, we're terminating our therapeutic relationship effective immediately due to insurance fraud and misrepresentation. We've reported these violations to the insurance company and appropriate licensing boards. 4 direct hits, 4 explosions, and it wasn't even 10 a.m. Tyler brought me a plate of fruit from the breakfast buffet, read over my shoulder. "She's probably just waking up. She's probably still at Mom and Dad's house. She probably slept in her childhood bedroom like she always does when she needs Daddy to fix her problems." I bit into a strawberry. Except Daddy can't fix this. Nobody can fix this. My phone rang. Mom. I let it go to voicemail. She left a 4-minute message that Jessica transcribed for me. "Your sister is being evicted. She lost her job. Someone reported her to the trust administrator and they're freezing her accounts. Natalie, I know you're angry, but this is too far. She's your sister. Call me back. We need to fix this as a family. I deleted the voicemail without listening to it. Jessica's next update came at 11:23 a.m. Bianca showed up at her office. They escorted her out. She was screaming. Someone filmed it. It's on TikTok. The marketing firm's HR director is in the video looking done. Your sister is trending in Austin. Wedding Drama Continues has 47,000 views. I found the video. Bianca in yesterday's clothes, no makeup, hair unwashed, screaming at Peter in the lobby of her office building while security guards stood on either side of her. This is illegal. You can't fire me without cause. I'll sue. I'll sue all of you. Peter's voice, calm and clinical. You used company resources to harass someone. You sent explicit images from your work computer. We have documentation. You're terminated for cause. Leave now or we'll call the police. The video ended with Bianca being walked to her car, still screaming, mascara from yesterday running down her face. The comments were brutal. This is the sister from the wedding video. She's spiraling. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Imagine being this obsessed with your sister's husband. She really thought she could steal someone's man at their own wedding and face no consequences? Tyler was reading over my shoulder again, both of us watching my sister's public destruction from a beach chair in Mexico. You feel anything? He asked. Guilt? Regret? I feel satisfied. I closed the laptop. I feel like 8 months of planning just paid off. I feel like she's finally experiencing consequences for the first time in her miserable life. We spent the rest of Monday on the beach. I checked my email periodically, watched the fallout continue in real time from 2,000 miles away. Jessica sent updates every few hours. 12:47 p.m. Your dad called me. He wanted me to tell you that Bianca is having a mental health crisis and you need to be the bigger person. I told him you're on your honeymoon and can't be reached. He said this is family and should take priority. I hung up on him. 3:15 p.m. Bianca's landlord changed the locks. She tried to get in and couldn't. Building security has photos of her sitting outside her apartment door crying. They're threatening trespassing charges if she doesn't leave. 5:52 p.m. The trust administrator called your parents. They're deeply concerned about the fraud allegations. They're starting a full audit. Your mom is losing it. Your dad is trying to hire a lawyer for Bianca, but 3 firms have already turned her down because the evidence is too damning. Direct quote from the third lawyer. 8:34 p.m. Bianca is staying at your parents' house. She hasn't showered. She hasn't eaten. Your mom says she's catatonic. Your dad asked if you would consider calling off the dogs. I told him there are no dogs, just consequences. He didn't like that. I replied to Jessica, "You're getting a very expensive Christmas present this year." Tuesday brought more updates. The insurance company launched an investigation into Doctor's practice after discovering Bianca's fraud, which meant Doctor was furious and cooperating fully with authorities. The marketing firm released a statement about terminating an employee for harassment, and local news picked it up because someone connected it to the viral wedding video. Bianca's name wasn't mentioned in the official statement, but everyone on social media had already figured out it was her. The trust administrator's audit uncovered 5 years of falsified employment records. The amount Bianca had fraudulently collected totaled $63,000. They were pursuing legal action. My father couldn't hire a lawyer because every attorney he contacted said the case was unwinnable. The documentation was too thorough, too damning, too impossible to dispute. By Wednesday, Bianca had been formally evicted. She lost her security deposit plus an additional $8,000 in damages. Her credit score dropped 127 points overnight. She couldn't rent another apartment. She couldn't get hired anywhere because her former employer was giving accurate references about her termination. She was living in her childhood bedroom at age 26 with no job, no money, no prospects, and fraud charges pending. And I was in Mexico drinking margaritas by the pool, watching my husband's abs while he did laps, feeling more at peace than I'd felt in 10 years. Thursday morning, Jessica sent a photo. Bianca at the grocery store, looking 20 pounds thinner than she'd been at my wedding, hair greasy and pulled back, wearing sweatpants and one of our father's old t-shirts. She was buying ramen noodles. Just ramen noodles. Her cart had 12 packages of cheap ramen and nothing else. The caption, "Spotted by Alexis. Your sister looks rough." Alexis said she tried to hide when she saw her, but Bianca looked right through her like she wasn't even there. I zoomed in on the photo. Bianca's eyes were hollow, dead. The vibrant, beautiful, cruel sister who'd spent 28 years tormenting me was gone. This was just a shell. I felt nothing but satisfaction. Friday was our last day in Cabo. We went snorkeling, had a couples massage, ate dinner at a restaurant that cost more than Bianca's monthly trust payment used to be. My phone stayed off except to check Jessica's updates, which had slowed to 1 per day. Friday's update. Your parents are in marriage counseling. Your mom blames your dad for enabling Bianca. Your dad blames your mom for coddling her. They're both blaming you for orchestrating her destruction. Nobody's taking responsibility for raising a monster. Bianca hasn't left her room in 3 days. She's not eating. Your mom tried to call you 16 times today. I blocked her number from my phone because she started calling me to get to you. I replied, let them eat each other alive. They chose Bianca over me for 28 years. Now they can live with their choice. We flew back to Austin on Saturday, exactly 1 week after the wedding. The house Tyler and I had bought together was still decorated with just married signs from our neighbors. Someone had left a casserole on the porch with a note. Saw the videos. You're my hero. Enjoy the honeymoon glow. I heated up the casserole and ate it while scrolling through the final damage reports. Bianca's trust was officially frozen pending criminal investigation. The DA's office was reviewing the case. Her therapist had filed a formal complaint with the state licensing board. Her former employer had flagged her in industry databases, making it nearly impossible for her to get another marketing job in Texas. She'd lost everything: her job, her apartment, her money, her reputation, her future. And I'd done it all with her own weapons, her own evidence, her own stupidity. Tyler found me in our home office Sunday night, surrounded by printed documentation of everything I'd done, every email I'd sent, every bomb I'd launched. You keeping trophies? He asked. I'm organizing the file in case she tries to sue me. She can't prove I did anything illegal because I didn't do anything illegal. I just reported facts to the appropriate parties. If those facts destroyed her life, that's because her life was built on lies. He kissed the top of my head. You're the scariest person I've ever met. Good. I'd hate to be boring. Monday morning, exactly 9 days after my wedding, I went back to work. My coworkers had seen the videos. They'd read the articles. They applauded when I walked into the office. My boss pulled me aside and said, if you ever want a reference for literally anything, I'm your guy. What you did was masterful. That evening, my mother finally broke through my blocks and called from a number I didn't recognize. I answered because I knew this conversation was inevitable. Natalie. Her voice was hollow. Please, you have to stop this. Stop what? I'm not doing anything. I went on my honeymoon. I came back. I'm living my life. You destroyed your sister's life. No, Mom. She destroyed her own life. I just made sure people knew about it. She's sick. She needs help. She needs her family. She needed consequences. She finally got them. I was making dinner, chopping vegetables while my mother cried into the phone. You want to help her? Pay for actual therapy. Make her get a job. Stop enabling her, but leave me out of it. You're her sister. And she grabbed a microphone at my wedding and tried to steal my husband in front of 180 people. Being related doesn't give her immunity from consequences. My mother was silent for a long moment. Then, I don't know who you are anymore. I'm the daughter who survived. The one who got strong instead of staying a victim. The one you should have protected instead of sacrificing to keep Bianca happy. I put down the knife. I spent 28 years watching you choose her over me. Every time she hurt me, you told me to forgive her, to be understanding, to remember she was family. Well, she's still family, but she's not my problem anymore. I hung up, blocked the number, went back to making dinner. Tyler appeared in the doorway, having heard everything. You okay? I'm perfect. I have a husband who loves me, a job I earned, a house we bought together, and a life that's entirely mine. Bianca has nothing. That's not cruel. That's just math. We ate dinner on our back patio, watching the sunset, talking about where we wanted to go for our first anniversary. Bianca's name didn't come up once. That night, lying in bed, Tyler asked the question I knew had been coming. Do you think you'll ever forgive her? No. Not even eventually? Not even if she changes? She won't change. And even if she did, forgiveness would require her to deserve it. She doesn't. She won't. And I don't need to forgive her to move on with my life. I already have. He was quiet for a moment. You really feel nothing. I feel satisfied. I feel like justice was served. I feel like for the first time in my entire life, the person who hurt me actually faced consequences instead of getting away with it. I turned to look at him. Does that make me a bad person? It makes you human. Good. Because I'd do it again. I'd do it 1,000 times. She earned every single thing that happened to her. We fell asleep like that, wrapped around each other, while 2 miles away, Bianca lay in her childhood bed, jobless and broke and destroyed, finally understanding what it felt like to lose everything. I slept better than I had in years. 3 months later, Jessica called with an update I hadn't requested. Your sister tried to get a job at Target. They ran her background check and found the fraud investigation. They passed. She applied at Starbucks. Same thing. She's been rejected from 17 entry-level positions because your documentation is in every database. Good. Natalie. She's lost 28 pounds. Alexis saw her at the grocery store again. She said she looks skeletal. Is this supposed to make me feel bad? I just thought you should know. I know everything I need to know. She's alive. She has parents who will enable her forever. She'll figure it out or she won't. Either way, it's not my problem. More silence. Then, your mom wants to do family therapy. All 4 of you. She asked me to ask you. No. She said, Jessica, I love you, but if you finish that sentence, I will hang up on you the same way I hung up on my mother. There is no family therapy. There is no reconciliation. There is no healing. She tried to destroy my marriage before it even started and spent 8 months sexually harassing my husband. The fact that she's suffering now is not my problem. It's the natural consequence of her own actions. Okay. I just had to ask. Now you have your answer. Don't ask again. We changed the subject to normal things, to her new boyfriend and my new promotion at work, and whether we should do a girls' trip to New Orleans in the spring. Bianca's name never came up again. 4 months after the wedding, the DA's office formally charged Bianca with insurance fraud and trust fund fraud. My father mortgaged their house to pay for her defense attorney. The attorney took one look at my documentation and told them to plead guilty and hope for probation. She got 3 years probation, 1,500 hours of community service, and had to pay back the full $63,000 to the trust fund plus penalties. She'd be paying it off for the next decade. My father had to co-sign the payment plan because she had no income and no assets. Tyler and I bought a new car that month, upgraded to a luxury SUV with heated seats and a sunroof. We could afford it because of my promotion and his bonus and the fact that we'd worked hard and saved carefully and built a life based on actual effort instead of lies and theft. I didn't think about Bianca when I signed the car papers. I didn't think about her when Tyler and I drove to the coast for a weekend getaway. I didn't think about her when we started talking about maybe buying a bigger house next year, maybe starting to try for kids. She was a closed chapter, a problem I'd solved, a threat I'd neutralized. 6 months after the wedding, my father had a heart attack, mild, survivable, but it put him in the hospital for 5 days. My mother called from her number because I hadn't blocked it yet. Your father is in the hospital. I'm sorry to hear that. That's all you have to say? What do you want me to say, Mom? I hope he recovers. I genuinely do. But I'm not coming to the hospital if Bianca's there. She's your sister. We've had this conversation. The answer hasn't changed. I was at work, taking this call in my car during lunch break. Dad made his choices. He chose to enable Bianca. He chose to mortgage the house for her legal fees. He chose to co-sign her debt payments. Those choices have consequences. One of those consequences is that I'm not part of his life anymore. You're going to regret this. I regret a lot of things, Mom. Not having a relationship with the man who funded my abuser for 28 years isn't one of them. I hung up, went back to work, closed a major deal that afternoon that came with a $15,000 commission. Tyler took me out to celebrate that night, expensive steakhouse, bottle of wine that cost more than Bianca's weekly grocery budget. We talked about vacation plans and home renovations and what kind of dog we wanted to adopt. We didn't talk about my father in the hospital or my sister in her childhood bedroom or my mother who kept choosing the wrong daughter. We talked about our life, the life we'd built, the life nobody could take from us because we'd earned every piece of it. That night, I slept like a baby, because justice had been served, and I'd been the one serving it. A year after the wedding, Tyler and I renewed our vows, Small ceremony, just 20 people, all friends who'd been at the original wedding and seen the destruction firsthand. No family, no parents, no sister. Jessica officiated. She wrote a ceremony that mentioned resilience and justice, and the importance of choosing yourself over people who hurt you. It was beautiful. It was perfect. We honeymooned in Italy this time, 2 weeks of wine and pasta and art and history and absolutely zero contact with anyone from my old life. When we got back, there was a letter waiting at our house, hand-delivered. My father's handwriting on the envelope. I almost threw it away unopened. Tyler stopped me. You should read it. You don't have to respond, but you should read it. The letter was 2 pages, front and back. My father's careful, neat script filling every line. Natalie, I've spent a year trying to understand what happened. Your mother and I have been in therapy. We've talked to counselors and pastors and friends. Everyone tells us the same thing. We failed you. We failed you every day for 28 years. We saw how Bianca treated you and we told you to be patient, to be understanding, to be the bigger person. We asked you to sacrifice your happiness for your sister's comfort. We made you small so she could feel big. I'm sorry. Your mother is sorry. We know sorry isn't enough. We know we can't fix what we broke. But we want you to know that we see it now. We see what we did. We see what she did. We see what you had to become to survive us. Bianca is in therapy now. Real therapy, not the fake appointments she was billing to insurance. She's on medication. She's working part-time at a call center, the only place that would hire her. She'll be paying off her debts for the next 8 years. She's different now. Quieter, smaller. She doesn't talk about you anymore. When your mother mentions you, Bianca leaves the room. I don't know if you'll ever forgive us. I don't know if you should. But I wanted you to know that we're sorry. We're sorry we weren't the parents you deserved. We're sorry we let her hurt you. We're sorry we taught her that hurting you was acceptable. Your mother and I are proud of you. Proud of the life you've built, the woman you've become, the strength you showed when you finally said enough. We wish we'd been strong enough to say it years ago. If you ever want to talk, we'll be here. If you never want to talk, we'll understand that too. Love, Dad. I read it twice. Then I put it in a drawer and went back to making dinner. Tyler found me at the stove 20 minutes later. What did it say? That they're sorry, that Bianca's different now, that they finally see what they did wrong. How do you feel? I feel nothing. I stirred the pasta sauce. Maybe that's cruel. Maybe I should feel something, but I don't. They spent 28 years choosing her. 1 year of therapy doesn't erase that. You think you'll ever respond? Maybe. Maybe in a few years if they prove they've actually changed. Or maybe never. I haven't decided yet. I tasted the sauce, added more basil. The thing is, I don't need their apology to move forward. I already have. With or without them, my life is good. Actually, it's better than good. It's exactly what I wanted it to be. And it was true. Tyler and I had applied to adopt a dog. I'd gotten another promotion. We were looking at houses with bigger yards, planning for the family we wanted to build. My calendar was full of dinners with friends, weekend trips, book club meetings, painting classes, all the things I'd been too tired to do when I was spending all my energy managing Bianca's chaos. I'd built a life she couldn't touch, a life she didn't even know about, a life that had nothing to do with the family that had failed me. That night, after dinner, I took my father's letter out of the drawer and read it one more time. Then I wrote a response. Short, simple, honest. Dad, I got your letter. I appreciate the apology. I believe you're sorry. But sorry doesn't change the past, and I'm not interested in rebuilding a relationship right now. Maybe someday, maybe never. I haven't decided yet. What I have decided is that my life is better without people who treated me as disposable. You and Mom treated me as disposable for 28 years. Bianca treated me as disposable for 28 years. I'm not disposable. I deserve better. I found better. Tell Mom I hope she's well. Tell Bianca I hope therapy helps her. But tell them both I don't want contact. If that changes, I'll let you know. Until then, respect my boundaries. Natalie. I mailed it the next morning. Felt nothing when I dropped it in the mailbox. No relief, no guilt, no sadness. Just the quiet satisfaction of closing a door that should have been closed years ago. 3 weeks later, my mother violated my boundaries and showed up at my workplace. Security called me because she was in the lobby demanding to see me. I went downstairs. She looked older, grayer, tired in a way I'd never seen before. Natalie, please, just 5 minutes. You need to leave. I don't want to talk to you. Your sister is getting better. She's really trying. She wants to apologize. I don't care what Bianca wants. I don't care if she's better. I don't care if she's sorry. Her apology changes nothing. She's your sister, and she sexually harassed my husband for 8 months. She tried to destroy my marriage. She spent 28 years tormenting me. Being related doesn't erase that. People were staring. I lowered my voice. You need to leave. Now, or I'll call the police and report you for harassment. My mother's face crumpled. When did you become so cold? When I finally realized that being warm only ever got me hurt. I turned to security. Escort her out. Don't let her back in. I went back to my office, closed the door, sat at my desk and finished the presentation I'd been working on before the interruption. I didn't cry. I didn't shake. I didn't feel guilty. I felt powerful. Because I'd set a boundary and enforced it. Because I'd chosen myself over people who'd never chosen me. Because I'd built a life they couldn't access, couldn't ruin, couldn't touch. That evening, I blocked both my parents' numbers. Blocked Bianca's number even though she'd never tried to call. Blocked every family member who might try to guilt me into reconciliation. Tyler asked if I was sure. I was sure. I'd spent a year watching Bianca's life implode from the bomb I'd dropped. I'd spent a year thriving while she suffered. I'd spent a year proving that sometimes the person who fights back isn't the villain. They're the hero. And I'd spent a year learning that I didn't need forgiveness from the people who'd wronged me. I just needed freedom, and I had it. Finally. Permanently. Completely. The war was over, and I'd won.